We have really assembled a show you're going to love today. Toward the end of it, Dr. Kerry O'Reilly out in San Diego, I get him on Skype from time to time because the guy's brilliant. Dental hygiene. I mean, we all need this, right? How often do we need it and what do we need? He'll answer that. In the beginning of the show, if antifungal drugs lower cholesterol, what must elevate cholesterol? Why do you and I get that? And thus far, the medical community can't really pick that up. Could fungus cause an elevation in our lipids, our triglycerides, and cholesterol and so forth? Toxoplasmosis and histoplasmosis, are they different? Lynn asks. I address that. And then cranberry and raspberry tarts that are Kaufman friendly. You won't want to miss today's show.
For the past 45 years, I have dedicated my life and my whole career to finding the root cause of disease. And I now know with certainty that we must play a role in our own health care. I'm a self-care advocate. You know what? Every time you change your diet for the better, exercise, or swallow a nutritional supplement, so are you. Now welcome to Know the Cause.
Hey friends, can we talk about high cholesterol? In order to do that, let's talk a little bit about cancer, because I think sometimes they're often due to the same thing. Okay, this is, you know that I talk about this book often. This is Prostate Cancer, Hope at Last. He wrote Breast Cancer, Hope at Last. He wrote Atherosclerosis, Hope at Last. These are three doctors, Dr. Costantini, Weiland, and Quick, with the World Health Organization. And I was noticing today as I pulled this book, to Doug Kaufman, let's save your prostate for your old age. Best wishes, Dr. Costantini, signed 5/29/99. Wow, almost 21 years ago he signed this book. In this book, folks, they talked about these diseases as though they had a fungus link. This is 350 pages of nothing but fungus involved in prostate cancer, which I think it is. They mentored me through the years. Atherosclerosis, breast cancer, colon, liver, uterine, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer, AIDS, gout, Crohn's, MS, hyperactivity, infertility, psoriasis and cirrhosis, Alzheimer's, scleroderma, Raynaud's, sarcoidosis, kidney stones, amyloidosis, vasculitis, arthritis, Cushing's disease, and the list goes on and on. These three doctors with the World Health Organization believed that fungi could induce all these diseases. I found psoriasis. I found sometimes autism is intimately linked to fungus. How do you do that? We'll discuss that in other shows, but here's what I want to bring you now. In this book, Drs. Weiland, Quick, and Costantini stated this: the fact that diseases of unknown cause respond to antifungal drugs suggests the possibility that they have a fungal origin. I mean, isn't that great? So what did we find last year? We found fungus in pancreatic cancer. What did we find with Crohn's disease in 2016? Yeah, sometimes bacteria can induce it, but fungus is growing in the intestines of Crohn's disease patients. This isn't going to stop. Fungus is a huge problem because our doctors didn't learn about it, much about it, in their medical training. So, okay, now that we know if an antifungal drug works, you probably got a fungal problem, right? The toenail fungus drug called Sporanox was repurposed in the year 2016 after it was discovered that Sporanox inhibited cancer metastasis, so it stopped cancer from spreading and then caused cancer cell death. Wow. That's a huge, huge statement. It inhibits it from metastasizing and it induces apoptosis. It causes cancer cell death. Why isn't every cancer patient in the world on this toenail fungus drug? Doctors don't know about it yet. But let's talk about high cholesterol. Might this same drug called Sporanox help high cholesterol? So let's delve in here in the couple minutes we have left and teach about that. Sometimes high cholesterol progresses to cause heart disease. Discover the cause of high cholesterol, and that may lead you to the cause of heart disease. Okay, so what causes high cholesterol? That's been the question forever. Doctors have always asked that. Here's a clue, because I think in 1996, 97, doctors started to think, we're on to something. And it was a discovery that was serendipitous. Here it is. In 1995, a clinical study was done showing which of the two antifungal drugs, Lamisil, excuse me, or Sporanox, cleared toenail fungus better. Well, Lamisil won by a small margin, but it was noted that one remarkable side effect of Sporanox was that 81% of the patients who took it experienced a decrease in their cholesterol levels. This was before statin drugs. But my friends, I think this study opened the floodgates. And nobody asked the question, if an antifungal drug lowers your cholesterol, what causes high cholesterol? Well, we don't know, but who cares? Let's sell drugs, drugs, drugs. Now all of us, many of us are taking statin drugs. Don't you want to know the cause? Okay, let's keep going. If Sporanox stops cancer from metastasizing, and it also reduces cholesterol levels, what might cause cancer and high cholesterol, like the good doctors were asking in the opening of this segment? Fungi produce a number of fat metabolites, one of which is sterol. This is Dr. Elizabeth Moore Landecker who said this. Sterols are probably produced by all fungi. What are the last, 6 letters of the word cholesterol? Sterol. Chole, bile. Chole, cholesterol. Okay, that's fascinating to me. And then this one report came out of another website. This might surprise you. Recent medical discoveries have indicated that cholesterol-lowering drugs called statins are in fact antifungals. And finally this today, folks. Fungal diseases are often not diagnosed right away because their symptoms can be similar to those of other diseases. Earlier diagnosis and treatment can save lives. Think fungus if you have symptoms that don't get better with treatment. Who said that? The very governors of our health. The Center for Disease, or so we are told, the Center for Disease Control. Think fungus. Folks, Sporanox lowered 4 out of 5 people's cholesterol levels. 4 out of 5 people's cholesterol levels. Sporanox stopped cancer from metastasizing. Should we all be on Sporanox? There are so many good natural antifungal herbs and seeds that God put here. Maybe we can prevent these horrible diseases by eating a proper diet and taking natural antifungals. Okay, that's what this show is all about. Glad you know that now. We have a cat at home. I'm a dog person, but my wife likes cats. We inherited a grand cat from my son, a very talented musician out in California. When he and his wife moved out there, their cats stayed with us. Bubba recently died. He was 104 or something. And this one cat is still there. And this takes me back, this question from Lynn takes me back to when we had a cat when we were first married 40 years ago and what ensued. Okay, so here's the question from Lynn. Doug, my doctor recommended getting rid of my cat because I'm pregnant. He is worried about something called toxoplasmosis. I hear you talk about histoplasmosis. Are they the same thing? We ended up getting rid of a cat because of my wife's pregnancy a long time ago. But why? What is this toxo and what is histo and what's plasmosis and so forth? Both, well here, let me go on with this slideshow. Both can be quite harmful. They both parasitize man, especially harmful to small children. Both are related to feces. I'll tell you about that in a minute. Chance of infection is rare, but they are very, very well documented. And very often, a doctor will just warn the pregnant woman, okay, here's a list of things I need to go over with you. Toxoplasmosis, and I'll explain to you what that is. The OBGYN will not discuss histoplasmosis, although I think he probably should. Histoplasmosis is something different, but understand both of these plasmoses parasitize man. Okay, let's talk a little bit about toxoplasmosis. It's an infection caused by Toxoplasma gondii, or gondii, I guess they call it, a single-cell parasite that spends most of its life cycle inside a cat. Because an infected cat can pass millions of Toxoplasma parasites daily in its feces, toxoplasmosis can spread easily to almost any other animal, including humans, that shares the environment with cats. And we were, 40 years ago, sharing our environment with, I think we just had one cat. Cats are so different than dogs. But at the current time, we have this cat, okay? Toxo. In humans, Toxoplasma parasites usually enter the body by being swallowed. This is fact. This can happen when people touch their mouth with soiled hands after changing a litter box, or upon eating pork, lamb, venison that hasn't been cooked thoroughly. So there are several ways that you get this Toxoplasma infection. And once on board, folks, it can wreak havoc with a pregnant woman's health and an unborn fetus. It can really, you need to just be aware of this. It's rare. But I want to tell you, when your doctor brings this up during an early meeting with him or her, you'll know, you'll be prepared. Okay, this is harbored in the intestines of cats. And my take, I think indoor cats represent far fewer risks than cats who go outside and eat mice and get into all these things and then bring it back in the house, okay? So now that we've discussed toxoplasma, let's talk about histoplasma. There is a condition called histoplasmosis, okay? That's what Lynn heard me talking about. Anybody talking about mycology talks about histoplasma or histoplasmosis, an infection of Histoplasma capsulatum. Here we go. Well, there, I gave away my first sentence. An infection caused by a fungal parasite, Histoplasma capsulatum. The principal habitat for this fungus is soil enriched by bird droppings or bat droppings. In people, this disease affects the lungs and may occasionally metastasize into other parts of the body. Acute progressive disseminated histoplasmosis, APDH, it's a real problem. If not treated quickly and appropriately, can lead to death in a few weeks in both adults and children. Here you have a classic misunderstanding by Lynn, but thank you, Lynn, for watching. I don't know if you folks are aware, but television has been wonderful for me. We're in 200 countries, we're in 100 million households in America alone. It's really been a blessing to me, and I think to many of you learning this information. Who'd have thought 22 years ago when I started this show talking about fungus, that I'd be here 22 years later, a little bit more gray, a little bit older, but still beating the same drum. Parasites are parasites. They live off our food. They can live symbiotically with our cells, as is the case with a lot of these fungi. It's out there. What I do every Tuesday from 3 to 4 Central Time and every Thursday from 2:30 to 4 Central Time here in Texas is I sit on another set there and I talk live for an hour on Tuesday and try and answer your questions. You can text in and say, hey, Doug, or email in, hey, Doug, I have this problem, and I'll try and get to them. We've gotten to the point on Thursday now, an hour and a half from 2:30 to 4 p.m., that there are hundreds and hundreds of questions that come in. So forgive me. But Lynn's question was a good one. I'm getting a lot about cholesterol, heart disease, hyperactivity, autism, cancer, etc. So join me. This was a means of my telling you a little bit about histoplasma versus toxoplasma, but also introducing to many of you who weren't aware. Just go to knowthecause.com and join me every Tuesday afternoon and Thursday afternoon, and we'll try and respond directly to your questions, okay? Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. My name is Abby. Today I'm going to show you how to make a fun and festive cranberry raspberry tart. Now these are little mini tarts, it's not a big one. So what I've started here, I've got 2 little tart pans right here. I've gone ahead and made the dough. This is a really simple dough recipe. It's just almond flour and butter. It's on our website, knowthecause.com, if you need it. But it's just almond flour and butter. I'm going to go ahead and pre-bake these in my oven that I've got set at 350 for about 10 minutes. I just wanted to give them a nice little crust on the top. So I'm going to go and put those in. Now, while those are pre-baking, let's go ahead and get ready on our tart filling. I've got in my bowl here 10 ounces of frozen cranberries and 10 ounces of frozen raspberries. Cranberries are a little hard to find, but they are seasonal, so you got to kind of look around a little bit in the stores. They're frozen still, so they're going to be nice and really cold. Then we're going to add in some monk fruit sweetener. Some tapioca starch, just thicken everything up. A little bit of heavy cream. tiny bit of kosher salt, or sea salt, basically. And we're gonna zest 1 whole lemon. When you're zesting a fruit, whether it be a lemon or a lime or an orange or anything like that, you wanna make sure you're just getting off the shiny outer layer. You don't wanna get this kind of like whitish layer, because that's part that is really bitter and there's no flavor in it, so you just kind of end up tasting it and it just tastes kind of awkward and weird. So you just wanna make sure, if anything calls for zest of anything, you're just getting that shiny outer layer. All right, and then you can save that lemon if you wanna make yourself some lemon water or lemonade or anything like that. You can still save that for the juice. Now we're just gonna mix everything together. Now because the berries are frozen, you're noticing everything's pretty much sticking to them, almost like they're frosted and stuff like that. So that is what is gonna make everything stick. It's gonna be nice, evenly coated. And one thing you'll notice is that this is a lot of tart filling for 2 little mini tarts. I'm only making 2 right now just to kind of show you how to make them, but this would really fill up to about 5 mini tarts. So if you want to make 1 giant one normal size tart, you can, but if you want to make mini ones, just know that this filling recipe is for about 5. So you can plan that accordingly. So everything is nice and mixed up. And I believe my tart pans are ready to go. My tart pans are out of the oven. They're slightly pre-baked, just a little bit crunchy, but not like completely baked all the way through. I went ahead and turned up my oven to 400 degrees because that's what we need to cook everything at. So while these are still a little warm, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put a small layer of chopped pecans at the very bottom. I'm choosing to use pecans today because I like pecans and I think they go well with the lemon and the cranberry flavors. If you want to use walnuts, you can. If you want to use some almond slivers, you can. Just make sure they're chopped up really nicely because they are a harder nut. Some cashews even could work pretty well. But you just want to do a nice thin layer on the bottom so you get a nice little crunch in there. Okay. And then now we're just going to spoon on some of our mixture. Now you're going to want to start off slow with these because all these berries like to fall around everywhere. See? And you can just keep piling it on as much as possible, as much as it'll hold. Just keep piling it on. We're gonna go ahead and put these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. Everything's gonna cook down a little bit, but you're gonna notice that it's gonna be nice and bubbly, and we'll try them when we come back. All right guys, my tarts are out of the oven. They've cooled off enough to where I can handle them. They're still in the tart shell. We're gonna go ahead and take these out. Just gonna push through. And just slide it onto the plate. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the little plate thing underneath it, and we'll just have it right there. It's still kind of warm, so it's still kind of stuck to it, but we're just gonna leave it on the plate right here. And I've got a little bit of whipped cream that I made earlier. It's just a little bit of heavy cream, a little bit of sweetener, and some vanilla. That's all it is. I just whipped that up, but look at how beautiful this looks. It's nice, it's festive, it's cute. This is great if you have a bunch of people coming over for kind of a fancy dinner. If you really want to impress people with your baking, you could do this ahead of time. Again, guys, this is all Kaufman approved. This is Kaufman 1. None of this food feeds fungus. Please try it. Let me know how you like it. And have a great day.
Dr. Kerry O'Reilly is with me right now. He's in San Diego. He's a dentist. Dr. Kerry O'Reilly, myholisticdentist.com. Baking soda, yes or no? So many people ask me that on Facebook and YouTube. Where's your heart on this, Dr. O'Reilly?
Wow, they ask you. Wow. Well, baking soda, definitely yes. A big yes. I can tell you stories. Just take my word for it. It flat out works. There's actually nothing better than baking soda for the bacteria that live in your mouth. That is a solution, no matter what the bacteria.
On a toothbrush?
Because on your toothbrush, you can put it in water as a liquid and swish with it. You can put it in your water pick as long as you clean out the water pick afterwards, or it will clog up because it is a strong salt. You can put it on your toothbrush after you brush, and your brush is wet. You can just touch it to baking soda and then massage it in your gums very lightly. It'll do all the work because it is such a strong salt. This is how it works.
See,
So
and that's such good information. Sodium bicarbonate. Baking soda helps the tissue become more alkaline, right? And disease flourish, bacteria and pathogens flourish in an acid environment.
That's exactly correct.
Yeah.
The baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, is so alkaline, it neutralizes all the acidity, correct?
Yeah.
And it's such a strong salt that it'll suck the moisture, the water, out of bacteria and even parasites and amoeba that can live under your gums.
Yes.
And I have a microscope in my practice. I show patients how it works live for their mouth. I take a little sample from their mouth, put it on a slide, show them what's going on, the bacteria, and I see things like spirochetes in the mouth. You mentioned candida earlier. I see candida in the mouth. I see amoeba and parasites in the mouth. And I see how the body responds to all these things. The immune cells that are being dumped into your gums to try to fight it. And it can't fight it in the mouth. The bacteria have basically free reign in your mouth. So then I put a little drop of baking soda solution on the edge of the slide and see what happens. And it kills all of that. The slide is clear within a minute because it sucks all the moisture, even out of parasites and amoeba.
Wow. And this is just the sodium bicarb, the baking soda, Arm & Hammer
Just
baking
soda.
Yeah. So Dr. Kerry O'Reilly, by the way, and I'm sorry, Dr. O'Reilly, we're just on a time crunch here. Go to his website, learn. Just immerse yourself in this, myholisticdentist.com. God bless you, Dr. O'Reilly. Thanks for that information.
Thanks again.
Soda, who'd have thought?
I know, so simple.
It is.
And it works.
It does. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hey, thank you, Dr. O'Reilly, for updating us. Folks, some of the simplest things we don't do. For good health, we really need to take care of dental hygiene. Thank you also, Abby, for those incredible tarts, just to drool for. And then what do you think? Antifungal drugs can stop elevated cholesterol in some instances. Then what must cause high lipids? Could it be fungus? Thank you, Lynn, for the great question. Now you guys know the difference between histoplasmosis and toxoplasmosis. God bless. I'll see you next time.